Alright. So we are in game 4. Asus ROGelfi is one game away. The Finnish-born Protoss player in the upper left-hand corner on Antigua Shipyards is just one single solitary game away from becoming the GD Invitational champion. And in the bottom right-hand corner, trying to stave off elimination, he is down 1 game to 2, is the Swedish player, the Swedish Terran, the Swedish Spoon Terran, or the Scientist Terran, as some of the GSL commentators are calling him after his game against Gumiho months ago, is EGThorZaINRC. So a really nice build, completely threw ThorZaINRC for a loop. ThorZaINRC thought it was some sort of Warp Prism harassment, but instead, Elfi went straight up to Templar off of 2 gateways, got to Storm, and then just pretty much got charge lots and Storm and just completely wrecked ThorZaINRC. It makes sense because ThorZaINRC's only way to defeat that, other than getting early ghosts, was bunkers and repair the bunkers against that many charge lots. And yet you can't do that because of the storms, because the storms just will absolutely destroy all your SCVs as they repair, and then the Protoss can just easily power through. So a really nice build by Elfi. We've seen 3 different builds, 3 completely different builds from Elfi so far. We saw the Proxy Robo 4-gate, or Proxy Robo, I don't know what he originally intended to do with it, but the early game shenanigans that both players did resulted in him going for the 4-gate Warp Prism all-in. Then we had him play a very safe and standard expansion type game, although he was behind ThorZaINRC that entire time in game 2, in which ThorZaINRC won. And then in that game he went for that very interesting, it was basically a Storm Rush. It was Storm Rush and then get lots of charge lots and go kill your opponent. And ThorZaINRC just had no idea it was coming. ThorZaINRC was completely and utterly unprepared. Oh, nicely done. ThorZaINRC actually chasing away the probe with his SCV, and that probe was really wanting to take a bite out of that SCV. So ThorZaINRC's going to go for the 1 Rax FE. He's actually going to move the barracks. That was interesting. Cybernetics core for Elfi. So both players pretty standard, exactly the same build as the last 2 games. That Marine checking for those obnoxious proxy pylons that Protoss probes like to place down. There were a lot of P's in that. There were a lot of P's. So here comes the Zealot to chase away the SCV of ThorZaINRC. And we see two gas being taken. Elfi looks like he's going to put some pressure on, or at least tech, with whatever build he has in store for Antigua Shipyards. Here comes 1 bunker, 3 Marines at the top of the ramp is going to be enough to stop this Zealot from doing any sort of major pressure, or putting any major pressure on ThorZaINRC. But it looks like the Zealot is going to come up the ramp, and is going to be met by 1 single solitary shot from the Marine. And both players are currently macroing up. There's the Twilight Council, a Twilight Council and a Robo Bay. So I'm going to take a wild guess and say one of the more popular builds on this map is the 3-gate blink all-in, or 3-gate blink all-in with the observer spotting. Get that blink. You get that. Well, he's got some gas to go. Get that blink. Get that blink. Prove me right. Prove me right. Yes. Yes. I am by no means a pro player. I am a gold to platinum level Terran / Protoss. I play a little Zerg. Play that at a gold level. But I do happen to watch. I've seen enough games. I do happen to watch enough shows and streams to know some of the more popular builds, and this is one of the hardest builds to stop as a Terran if executed properly. Or actually, I guess the Zerg too can be a pain in the butt, but you get that observer for vision on the high ground, you get blink, and then you just blink into the main, and you keep pressure at the front. You keep that so that your Terran buddy, who's usually has expanded by now, so that he knows. There we go. So that he knows, or feels like he can't separate. He's got to separate his army perfectly. It's just a worst nightmare for a Terran, because if you abandon your front, the Stalkers are so much more mobile, especially with blink. If you don't have stim and medevacs, the good thing for ThorZain is that Stim is on the way. It is still more than a minute away, and Blink is almost done. But Elfie right now only with 3 stalkers, 5 stalkers, so Blink is on its way. ThorZain, I think this is about the time that this attack normally does hit, but ThorZain is for having Effie prepared, and he does seem to sense something's up. Just like last time, he thought it was I think he thought it was a Warp Prism all in, and now he's positioned perfectly. If that observer moves, ThorZain may have seen it. And the blink into the main, and ThorZain's going to run away. He doesn't really have enough to handle this. This could be the game. This could be the GD Invitational Finals. Elfie back against the wall. SCVs have been pulled. Blinking back. Beautiful save on that one stalker. Another nice save on the stalker. Elfie getting the most out of his stalkers as he can. Look at that. 1, 2, 3. 3 stalkers in the red. Almost dead. Another one actually almost red too. I think he walked around the outside. And ThorZain's actually going to have to keep some of those SCVs, a lot of those SCVs, with his army. That's almost his entire base. The one good thing is that these stalkers are horrible at breaking bunkers. One stalker goes down, they blink to the main, and now they can't blink away. And Stim has finished for ThorZain, and he gets the observer. That's a big pull right there. That means that Elfie cannot blink into the main, and and Elfie loses most of his stalkers there. He's only got 5 outside the main. He is warping in a couple more stalkers. And that Marine died a horrible, horrible death. This one bunker at the front should actually be enough if ThorZain pulls the SCVs in time. Yes, he is. He's going to get away. And medevacs are out, and Elfie's actually looking like he's in trouble here. That one blink from the low ground, the ramp into the main, was a big mistake because Elfie was in a bad position. ThorZain had anticipated where he was going and caught his units, and Elfie just could not blink away, especially with Stim done. And ThorZain, this could be close. He's got to pull the SCVs again to repair that bunker, and he does. And ThorZain, even though he took heavy, heavy SCV losses, he is ahead in the worker count right now, and Elfie's just going to keep putting on the pressure until he runs out of money, and he's going to try and pick off SCVs as best he can. He does not have an observer to spot the high ground, so he cannot split his units. So ThorZain can keep everything at the main, at the front of his natural, and Elfie's going to make another push here, and that bunker is actually empty, but I think that ThorZain may just have enough. He actually sacrificed, one of his medevacs was almost out of energy. It actually was sacrificed right away, but way too many units for ThorZain, that natural kicking in. Wow, what could have been that first blink into the main by Elfie was perfect. He took out a bunch of SCVs. It looked like he had ThorZain on the ropes, and then the Spoon Terrans, somehow Stim finished at just the right time, and that one blink, I think if Elfie could have one play in this entire tournament back, it would be that one blink from the ramp to the high ground, because ThorZain anticipated it beautifully and already had his units on his ramp at the top of his base, and Elfie couldn't blink away, and Stim finished. It was the perfect combination for ThorZain and the worst combination for Elfie. So instead we go to a Game 5, a stellar hold by EGThorZaINRC.